Have you ever been betrayed by a loved one? Especially by those you care so much about, those you could die for. How did you cope? Because I can't feel my airflow anymore. I'm not just telling you a story. I'm telling you my pain. My name is Chidinma, and this is how my world ended, and how I built a new one from the ruins. I met Emeka at the bank where I worked. He had just come in to open a foreign account, since he lived in the UK. He was polite, calm, and had this rare way of smiling, like the world was never hard on him. We got talking, exchanged emails, then numbers. It started as a friendship, one of those professional friendships that slowly start to mean more than they should. Before long, we became inseparable. Calls every morning, prayers every night, and visits whenever he came to Nigeria. He wasn't just my man, he was my peace. When he asked for my hand in marriage, I didn't hesitate. We had our traditional marriage, according to Igbo customs. The entire compound was filled with laughter, the sound of drums, and the smell of palm wine. My heart was full. I thought I had finally found my forever. After the wedding, he returned to the UK, promising to bring me over soon. I believed him, why wouldn't I? He was my husband, my everything. He made sure I lacked nothing. He built a house in my name, bought me cars, even changed my family's life. When I got pregnant, he was over the moon. He flew down just to be by my side. And like that, our love story continued, 3 kids later, and my world revolved around him. But then, the excuses started. Whenever I brought up the topic of joining him in the UK, he'd say, "Babe, it's not the right time yet. My job here is unstable. Let's wait a little." At first, I believed him. But after 5 years of let's wait, my heart began to whisper, something was wrong. Still, I held on. Because love makes you blind, and hope makes you foolish. My younger sister Ebra had her own share of problems. She got pregnant out of wedlock and refused to tell anyone who the father was. It caused a lot of tension in the family, but I stood by her. I told her that mistakes happen, that one day, things would make sense. When her baby turned 2, she processed her papers to the UK. Before she left, I begged my husband to let her stay with him for a few months until she found her footing. But Emeka refused. He said, "No, Chidinma. I'll get her an apartment. I don't want anything that will soil my name." His words hurt, but I didn't argue. I respected him. But Ebra, she was furious. She told me, "Sister, are you sure your husband doesn't have a woman over there? Maybe that's why he doesn't want us around him." I laughed it off. I told her she was just overthinking. After all, I trusted Emeka with my life. When Ebra finally arrived in the UK, Emeka picked her up from the airport, got her an apartment, and even furnished it. I was happy. It showed he cared for my family. For months later, Ebra called me. She said she bumped into Emeka at the supermarket. She said he was cold, almost like he didn't know her. I told her not to worry, that maybe he was just stressed from work. Little did I know, my own blood was lying to me. Before I continue, I want to ask, where are you watching from? Drop your country or city in the comments. I'd love to give you a shout out in my next video. And please, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, because the story you're about to hear next will break your heart. It was December. Emeka came home, as usual, and decided to take the family to Dubai for Christmas. I was so happy. It was our first international family vacation. I even took the children's nanny along, just so I could balance work with relaxation. After a few days, my laptop broke down. I needed to finish a project for the bank, so I asked to use Emeka's. He didn't hesitate. He handed it to me with his password, smiling, as usual. He took the kids and nanny out for sightseeing, leaving me in the hotel room. I was about to start walking when a small voice in my head whispered, "Check his photo gallery." I hesitated. I wasn't the type to snoop around. But something in me, something stronger than logic, made me click that folder. And that was the moment my world ended. In his photo gallery were pictures I had never seen before, pictures of my sister Ebra. Not just pictures, intimate pictures. Pictures that should never exist. I froze. I couldn't breathe. My hands shook as tears filled my eyes. Out of panic, I opened his WhatsApp. It was synced to the laptop. The tab was already open. And there it was. Hundreds of messages between my husband and my sister. They had been together all along. Her child was his. My heart screamed, "No. It can't be." But the messages were clear. Even my mother was part of it. In one of the messages, Ebra said, "Mom said you should be patient. Once Chidima moves over, we'll find a way to make it look like we just reconnected." My own mother, the woman who carried me for 9 months, was part of my betrayal. I felt numb. Empty. Like I didn't exist anymore. When they returned from sightseeing, I couldn't look Emeka in the eye. He noticed and asked, "Babe, are you okay?" I lied. I told him I had a migraine from overworking. He believed me, held me close, kissed my forehead. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell him I knew everything. But I couldn't, not yet. The next morning, I told him I wanted to return home early. He tried to convince me to stay, but I insisted. He didn't argue, he just simply said, "Okay." Back in Nigeria, I pretended everything was fine. I smiled at my mother, even though I wanted to ask her why. Why would you betray your own daughter? Why would you let my husband sleep with my sister? But I stayed calm. Because I had a plan. I reached out to a friend in Canada and explained everything. She helped me start the process for a visa for me and my children. While my husband traveled to the village for family meetings, I sold my house and my Jeep. Yes, the same house he built in my name. I sold it and used the money for our escape. I called my younger brother Ifani, the only one who had tried to warn me years ago. He broke down in tears when I told him what I found. He said, "I wanted to tell you, but Mama threatened to destroy me if I did." I hugged him and told him, "You did nothing wrong." They did. The night of our flight, I called Emeka and told him there was an emergency. When he arrived home, soldiers were at the gate. He walked in to see me, our kids, my mom, brother, and his 2 elder sisters, who also live in Lagos. Luggage packed. Tears on my face. He looked confused, then scared. "Chi, what's going on?" he asked. That was when I told him everything. Every single thing. I told him how I saw the pictures. How I read the messages. How I knew the truth about my sister's child. And how even my mother was part of it. He collapsed. Right there on the floor. He wept like a child, saying he was deceived and he didn't know how to stop the lies. But I was done. Done with pain. Done with pretending. I told him, "Emeka, don't look for me. I've gone for good. The house. I sold it. That's your compensation for the life you wasted." I turned to my mother and said, "I disown you. From today, you're dead to me." Then I walked out. With my kids. With my dignity. With my pain. Canada was cold, but peaceful. I started over, piece by piece. I created an NGO to help women like me, women trapped in marriages built on lies. Women who lost themselves to betrayal. Ebra returned to Nigeria, disgraced and homeless. Even my mother drove her out, because she realized too late that she had lost me forever. Ifani now works in Abuja, doing well for himself. He says he's finally free. As for Emeka, I don't know how he got my number. He calls sometimes, crying, begging for forgiveness. But some things can't be repaired. Some wounds cut too deep. Let me ask you, my viewer. What would you do if you found out your mother was your greatest enemy? Would you forgive her? Or would you walk away like I did? Drop your answer in the comments. And please, like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Because in my next video, I'll share how I built my new life from nothing and found peace again. Sometimes, the people you love the most are the ones who will tear you apart. And sometimes, the only way to heal is to walk away, even if it means walking alone. If you are listening to me right now, and you're in a relationship where your peace is dying, your confidence is fading, and your heart feels like it's breaking every day, please, leave. Love should never hurt this much. You deserve peace. You deserve happiness. You deserve freedom. My name is Chidinma. And this is my story. Thank you for watching. I hope my story gives strength to every woman who has ever loved the wrong person and trusted the wrong people. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. You might just save a soul.